Everyone, Misha here, and today I am super excited to review the Lubanko Tarot by Lubanko. One of the reasons why I'm jazzed about this deck is because it was on Kickstarter and I didn't see it. So I back a lot of decks on Kickstarter, and this is one that I did not catch in time. And when the deck, after it had been sent to all of its backers, the artist opened it up for a sale for the extras, and I was able to get my hands on one, which makes me so excited because when I found this deck and really started reading about it, I just absolutely fell in love. So I am jazzed to share it with you. And just to start off, you can see the box is really lovely. It's one of the boxes that has the little magnetic flap. This is probably my favorite type of box because it's nice and sturdy and you can set it up. It sets really easily. Like if you wanted to put it out for display, it sets up nice. And it also is sturdy and doesn't ding up. It also has some nice silver on it. Just looks really beautiful. And just so that before we start, I want everybody to really pay attention to the theme of this deck, which is one that explores the surreal, the intense, the queer, and the divine. So this deck, the art and the theming of it really reflects that. So let's dive in. So we've got our book inside, and the book itself is super simple. No frills. It's in black and white. There's no imagery. It's all text, which I think is really nice because that gives you a great opportunity to get more meat of the deck. I think in particular what I like about this deck, so here's justice, and instead of just being a few keywords, you're getting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 pages, 4.5 pages of information for most of the cards. Some of them there's a little less, so Wheel of Fortune, there's 2. Hermit, there's 3. So it just depends on the card, but I really appreciate the fact that the artist took the time to put down in their guidebook, not just the kind of traditional or common meaning of the card, but also how they connected in with it. And I think that that's a really important thing when you have a deck like this, where it is very much an art deck and it really is the vision of the artist. It's great to be able to get an idea of where they were coming from. So, as I drop the box, put that there. So the cards themselves have a pretty simple back, and I like that a lot because it is reversible, so you can do reversals really easily with this deck. You can see it's to me this feels matte. It doesn't feel like super slick, which I like, but there's a little bit of a gloss to it, and it does have the ever popular super silver shiny edges, which is nice. The card thickness is like, these are sturdy. I do not feel like I'm gonna damage them. They feel really great in my hands, and you can kind of hear they are stiff and sturdy, which is wonderful. I think that this deck is a great example of one that not only looks good and has a really neat idea behind it, but it is well made. So kudos to the artist on this one. So we're starting off with, I'll kind of walk you through some of the cards. So we've got the Fool, the Magician. And so right here, I love it, like second card in the deck, boom. This is a good example of what the artwork in this deck is like. In the book, the artist talks about the fact that they wanted the deck to feel raw. And they talk about the fact that this deck is a reflection of how they interact in the world and how they see the world. And it was really beautiful in reading what they had to say about this, because they talked about the fact that, you know, you go through life and there really are these experiences that you have that are kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of brutal. And they really, you know, they really cause you to feel emotion, and also it's not always happy and beautiful and wonderful. And I think this deck, just the energy of it and the way the art is done, really calls in to some of that, maybe chaotic is the wrong word, but that energy of not peaceful and serene. So this is not a deck that to really go to if you're wanting to have, you know, stuff that's really super gentle and peaceful, because there are definitely some images in this deck that are pretty intense. But again, that is the whole theme of this deck. That is the purpose of it. That was the intent. And I think the artist captured it beautifully. I love this High Priestess. Look at how beautiful that is. Absolutely gorgeous. Here's your Empress. Beautiful, beautiful capture of that Empress energy on that one. Have our Emperor. Very, very Odin vibe. I love it. Their Hierophant. The Lovers. Okay, so here is a great example. This is a really, really good card to sort of give you an impression of what the rest of the deck is going to be like. So this is that rawness. This is that that being willing to look at every aspect of life, not just the happiness and the joyful moments, but the roughness that comes. And I think what's really beautiful about this deck too is by working with it, we can understand that some of the things that we encounter in life are not what everyone else experiences. So I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of this deck, is by working with it, I can get insight into some of the things that other people have experienced. This is a very non-traditional Lovers card, and I love it. This is one of the reasons, that card is one of the reasons why I fell in love with this deck. Here we have the Chariot. Strength. I love this one. Gorgeous. And okay, so a couple of other things too. This is a great deck if you're looking for a deck that is queer. That's the artist description of it themselves. And one that has some gender binary, also some different expressions of the traditional gender roles that we see a lot of times popping up in the tarot, as well as a lot of images in this deck in particular that are pushing some of those norms that we would normally expect to see. So I find that really lovely with this as well. Ooh, that's an awesome Hermit card. Love it. And yeah, if you're wondering why it sounds like I haven't really looked at this deck, when I do these reviews, most of the time, if it's a new deck, this is the first time I'm seeing a lot of these cards. So, oh, that Justice is awesome. So the excitement that you're seeing, or you're hearing rather, in my voice is very much happening in real time as I see the cards. I love it. So the colors in this deck too, you can kind of see they vary between being a little more muted and a little bit more vibrant. So we've got some bold, vibrant colors, and then we also have ones that are a little bit more pale and a little bit more subtle. So this deck really kind of spans the map on all of that. There's the Tower. The stars, beautiful. I love that one. The Moon. This is the other reason I bought this deck, was this card. Every time I saw it, I was just absolutely enchanted by it. It really speaks to me of the Horned God and the wild places of the world. So I really thought that one was beautiful. And when we talk about the moon, and we talk about mystery and the things that we don't see and the things in the dark that that appear and challenge us and ask us to go deeper, I feel like this card, the figure that's emerging from the water, just invites us in to really do that work and look at the things in life that challenge us and maybe make us uncomfortable. That's one of the reasons why I feel like this deck is really needed, especially if people are wanting to look at cards and ask themselves, how am I reacting to the art? What is this bringing up for me? Because we can always read with the traditional meanings, right? But this deck in particular, if you're wanting to tap into your intuition, but especially go into some of those places that might not easily pop up for you, I think this deck is a great choice for that. That is a gorgeous Sun card. Wow. Judgment. And the World. Oh, I love that World. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, that one, that just makes my heart sing. That's awesome. All right, so we'll run through some of the minors really quickly. The artist used the kind of classic suits. We've got Wands, we've got Cups, oh wow, man, ooh, that's a powerful Two of Swords. And then we've got our Pentacles as well. So some of some of the cards in here are very, very, very inspired by the RWS deck, and that makes sense. I believe the artist said that they had been reading tarot for something like 18 years. So this deck is a really beautiful kind of homage to the understanding that they have developed of tarot throughout their readings. So you've got some that are that you can look at that and say that is definitely reminiscent of the Two of Wands, and then some like this one that is a little bit different. They're kind of their own interpretation. And I really like that about this deck. So here's the Four of Wands. Totally has its own story to tell in the context of the deck. Wow. Oh, this is a powerful deck. I love it. So I won't go through all the minors, but I'll just give you some peeks here. Oh, wow. I love that 7. This deck is absolutely giving me goosebumps. And if you want to get a copy of it, the artist does have an Etsy. At this time in 2021, there are some decks available. I believe they may be looking at going to another print run because it did pretty much sell out or it did very well on Kickstarter. And then afterwards, there was a lot of interest in it too. So if you check their Etsy and you're not able to find it, definitely check them out on Instagram because they're very good about updating everyone on there. So that if you want to get a copy of this deck, that's the best place to find out how to do so. Ooh, wow. Beautiful. And if you're curious about the court cards, we do have the kind of standard page, knight, queen. Oh wow, that Queen of Pentacles, and king. So we do have the standard court cards, but they are not all human. So you probably saw in the page. Where did that guy go? Yeah. So that one has almost like a mask on. So they're I guess you could argue that they're kind of human form because we have some that look very clearly human and some that are more humanoid. So that's a neat way to work with these as well. So I am so excited to work with this deck. Again, this is the Lubanko Tarot, and I think this is a really beautiful one if you are seeking a portal into a world that maybe is a little bit different than your own. One that is fantastic, but also raw and is going to push your boundaries in terms of what you're comfortable with reading in a deck. So gorgeous deck. Can't wait to work with it, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for joining me.